So, Prince Harry's back in the UK again, and this time, it feels different. Not in a hopeful, maybe he's mending fences kind of way, but more like he's circling the palace like a man trying to crash a party he was definitely uninvited from. The way he touched down, laid that wreath for the late Queen, and let the press know about it. That wasn't subtle. That was a calculated move, a desperate one, really. Like someone trying to remind the public he still exists, still feels, still belongs when most folks have already moved on. Let's get real. Harry's not here on a royal invitation. He's on what people are calling a fake royal tour. 4 days of engagements, lined up with barely a whisper from Buckingham Palace. No warm welcome, no public statement, just silence. And silence from the royal family speaks volumes. Especially when your father, the literal king, is just a few 100 miles away and still can't be bothered to officially acknowledge you're even in the country. And sure, people are speculating maybe King Charles might meet Harry in private, away from the press. After all, father and son, right? But if that's true, it's not out of love, it's damage control. Because anytime anyone in the firm breathes in Harry's direction, the public goes off. The tabloids have a field day. The approval ratings dip and the palace ends up doing cleanup. So, if there's a quiet meeting, it'll be buried under layers of denial, but honestly, it probably won't happen at all. Meanwhile, William, that man's calendar, is booked solid. It's like he's running a marathon of anywhere but near Harry. Every single day of Harry's visit, William's got something scheduled. Mental health visits, charity stops, memorials, and no, those aren't last-minute fill-ins. These engagements are locked in well ahead. But you better believe if there was even the tiniest opening in his day, it's been filled now. William's not playing the forgive and forget game, he's not even pretending to. And you know what? That's probably eating at Harry. He's trying to claw his way back into the royal fold, but no one's reaching a handout. He's out here trying to manufacture royal relevance, while the people who actually wear the crowns are ignoring him like he's yesterday's headline. And it's not just emotional either. There's money involved. That's the part no one likes to say out loud, but we all know it. Harry and Meghan don't exactly have a steady income stream. They're not raking in Netflix money every week, and running a high-profile lifestyle in California isn't cheap. So when Harry shows up to charity events like Wellchild, there's always the question, did he do it for the cause, or for the check? 17 years he's been with that charity. And yet suddenly he's back on stage, cameras clicking, presenting awards while conveniently on this tour. You do the math. No one's saying he doesn't care. But let's not act like this isn't also about PR. It's about opting Prince again. The one who got overshadowed by everything that came after Meghan entered the picture. And Meghan nowhere in sight, which is loud in itself. She's made it clear she's not setting foot back in the UK unless absolutely necessary. Some folks say it's about safety. Others say it's about pride. But let's be honest, Meghan's absence is strategic. She doesn't want the smoke, and she sure as hell doesn't want to be around the family that never truly accepted her. So, she sends Harry alone to clean up the mess, to fix a bridge that burned years ago. Harry's trying to pull off this whole re-entry act, like he's still got some kind of unofficial royal title that means something. But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't 2018 anymore. The goodwill's gone, the trust is shot, and the sympathy card, that thing's been played to death. The monarchy isn't looking for another round of Oprah interviews or Netflix docu-drama. They've made it crystal clear. They're closing ranks. And Harry, he's on the outside tapping on the glass, hoping someone lets him back in. He's doing all the right gestures on paper, public appearances, speeches, charitable acts. He even laid that wreath like it was some sacred offering, hoping, maybe, just maybe, it would soften a few hearts. But it's not landing because people see through it. They remember the security lawsuit. They remember him dragging the UK government to court, calling it a setup, acting like the nation that raised him was suddenly unsafe. That hit a nerve, not just with politicians, but with everyday folks who'd once called him the People's Prince. And now there's this weird double standard he's playing with. He says the UK is too dangerous for his kids, too risky for Meghan, but somehow he keeps flying in solo. No problem. So, what changed? Nothing except his need for attention and relevance keeps growing. His team says he wants reconciliation, that it's on the royal family now. But let's be honest, you can't torch the house and then ask for your room back. What's wild is that this visit marks the longest Harry's been in the UK since the Queen's funeral. He's stretching it out, hanging around for days like he's waiting for someone to pull him aside and say, "All right, let's talk." But no. One is, Charles is up in Scotland, mourning privately. William's ducking every opportunity. And Meghan, she's living her best unbothered life, back in California. Likely sipping tea in Montecito and watching it all unfold from afar like it's a limited series she executive produced. And that's where the tension really lies. Harry's not just trying to win back his family. He's trying to rewrite his story, but the cast won't cooperate. They're not interested in his redemption arc, especially William, who many say has drawn the hardest line in the sand. Some insiders even claim the palace deliberately arranged his public engagements to coincide with Harry's visit just to make sure there'd be no accidental overlap. No awkward encounters, no photo ops, nothing. It all feels incredibly deliberate. And that's got to sting, because for Harry, this isn't just about duty or tradition, it's about identity. He left the UK trying to be something new, a modern man, a father, a husband. But somewhere along the way, he lost that strong sense of who he was. Now he's drifting. Not quite royal, not quite Hollywood. Stuck in this weird in-between space where neither side fully claims him. And what's worse, the public isn't buying the narrative anymore. Every move looks like a media strategy. Every tearful speech gets picked apart. People are tired. The empathy, well, has dried up. And if Harry thought coming back would be a soft reset, he's learning fast. This isn't a movie. There's no dramatic reunion scene, no swelling music as he embraces his brother or kneels before his father in apology. This is real life, and in real life, bridges don't rebuild themselves just because you flew across the ocean. There's a rumor floating around that Harry's still holding out hope to return to the UK full-time. Bring the kids over, maybe even slip into some kind of honorary role if the mood ever shifts. But that's a fantasy. A nice dream for someone who hasn't accepted that the old life is gone. The doors aren't just closed, they're bolted shut. The palace isn't waiting with open arms, and the public isn't begging for his comeback. What they remember isn't the young prince walking behind Diana's coffin. They remember the guy in a California mansion pointing fingers across the Atlantic. The kicker is, he's not hated. Not entirely. There's still a slice of the population that wants to see him make peace. Especially older folks who remember the pain he went through as a child. But even they are running out of patience because it's been years and every attempt to fix things only seems to stir the pot more. It's like Harry keeps trying to apologize with a microphone in his hand. And that's the part that just doesn't work. The royal family operates in silence. They don't do public therapy sessions. They don't respond to press tours. They don't reconcile through interviews. They shut the door, draw the curtains, and wait for storms to pass. But Harry keeps knocking louder each time, convinced that if people just understood his side, it would all change. That's where Meghan's influence becomes impossible to ignore. She's been through her own battles with the royal family, and she never looked back. When she left, she slammed the door behind her, and from the outside, it seems like she's moved on. New projects, new connections, a new life. Meanwhile, Harry's still pacing the gate like someone who never quite made peace with the fact that he walked away. It's also not lost on anyone that Harry's been distancing himself physically and emotionally from that California setup. Every trip to the UK stretches longer. Every excuse to stay behind on royal soil feels more like a retreat. Insiders claim he's been candid with friends about missing his old life, missing the structure, the family traditions, even the sense of purpose that came with his title. That's the hardest part. probably realizing the life you thought you were freeing yourself from was the only one where you truly had direction. The talk about security, about Meghan being uncomfortable returning to the UK, it all sounds like noise at this point. The kind of deflection you use when the truth is harder to face, which is, they burned the bridge publicly, willingly. And now that Harry wants to tiptoe back, he's realizing some bridges don't come with blueprints for rebuilding, especially when your brother won't even glance in your direction, and your father has to schedule grief over his own mother